Hello students, this video is for standard 7th, chapter 3, that is your basically animal fibers. So before starting this chapter, as we have recalled in the class itself also, that when we are studying about the fiber, we should have a basic concept that is about the topics that we have studied in the 6th standard. Right, so in 6th standard we had a basic idea ki first of all, like when we were studying about the cotton and jute fibers, that first we get the fibers, then we twist and twirl them, and then we get a yarn, and from yarn we get a fabric, and from fabric we are getting the entire piece of cloth. So remember the sequence, like it's the sequence goes on from fiber to yarn, then yarn to fabric, and then finally we get the finally finished products. So basic question comes, so what is a fiber? Fiber is nothing but a long and narrow and flexible thread of natural or artificial substance, especially one that is used to make textile. So we know about textile basically when we say it's generally the piece of cloth, right? So they are the narrow strands, very narrow thread-like structures which are basically used for making the final finished products of the textile industry. Now moving on, when we were studying about the jute and cotton, those were the natural fibers in the previous standard, and this year also we'll be studying the natural fibers, but we'll be focusing on the fibers which are coming from animals, right? So the first fiber that we'll be starting is your wool. So when we are discussing about the wool, basically we have to understand that to be more specific, what actually we are getting, like from where we are getting, we have a basic idea that we get it from the sheep and all, but sheep are not only the animals that we'll be looking into it while going further in this chapter. But as far as wool is concerned, so basically we about the skin of animals, like normally all the animals from where we are getting the wool and all, they have a thin thick layer of furs, right? Like fur, like we have hairs on our skin, so they have a thick fur basically for like insulation purpose, or you can say for the protective purpose from heat and all, from the cold temperature and all. So this layer of thick hairs on the skin is called as fleece. So basically fleece is a raw material for obtaining the wool fiber, right? Now comes the topic, like what are the basic animals that from where we are getting the wool. So sheep is a general idea that everyone is aware of. Now the hair that we obtain from sheep or from any other animal basically are categorized into two categories. The first category is the one that is called as kemp, and the other one is the soft wool. So kemp is nothing but the outer, or you can say the outer portions of the hairs or wool, which are coming in contact with the external environment, and right, and cause coming in contact with the external environment, they'll be exposed to too much of sunlight, dirt, dust, and all. So they are coarse in nature, means their roughness is too much, right? So basically they are not the one which are used for getting the final end product. And the other one that we have is the under one, right? The one which is below the coarse fibers, and which are basically used for extracting the wool, right? So now comes the concept, like throughout the period, throughout the human evolution, if we discuss about this, we have done the followed the principle of selective breeding. So question comes, what is selective breeding? Selective breeding is nothing but the selection of parents depending upon their desirable characters, so that the required characters can be passed to the next generation, right? Like we select the wool sheeps basically who have fine quality of wool and all, and their next generation after the breeding, they will be having soft wool, right? So this is like the selection of parents on the basis of specific character, so that the required characters can be passed to the next generation. Similarly, when we move on, we have example of another animal, that is your Kashmiri goat. You all might have heard of the Pashmina shawl or the Kashmiri shawl, right? Because of its quality. If you ask your mother and all, they'll be for Pakka sure aware of it. So basically they are obtained from the variety of goat that is called as Kashmiri goat, which is found in the mountainous regions of China and Tibet, right? Now the one of the fluffiest animal, if we have to discuss about like from where we get you can say one of the best quality of wool, is the Angora rabbit, right? And they are basically native to Japan and Korea. So they are I'm telling they are one of the most fluffiest animal, right? So basically if you have to prepare some higher band quality in products of which are made up of wool and all, we prefer Angora rabbit. Now if you go to the regions of northern India, like if you have ever been to some hill stations like Ladakh, Manali and all, there if you are getting some sort of clothes which are like woolen clothes and all, so there are 100% chances that the wool would be coming from the fleece of yak, right? So right, basically the one problem here with the wool of yak is that they have a very limitation as far as color is concerned. Like there is either they'll be brown in color or they'll be black in color. Now as far comes as the, like you might be surprised to hear that we also obtain the fleece from camel. right? So camel, if you are discussing, like camel skin is also being used. You all might have heard about the woodland products and all. So it is one of the primary ingredient that those people are using for making the shoes and all. But apart from that, the fleece also is basically used, right? The reason being, it has extremely good insulation property, though that it doesn't allow the heat to go outside from your body when you are wearing the clothes which are made up of the fleece basically obtained from camel. Now comes what is sheep farming. So you can understand, like when and sheep are reared on a larger scale, right, and their selective breeding is done, this is called as basically sheep farming. And as far as the sheep is concerned, they are generally found in the area which are semi-arid and basically in the mountainous regions, right? And to be more specific, if we have to discuss about India, then the regions of Rajasthan, Jammu Kashmir, Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh are the ones which are which can be said as the primary centers for the sheep growing, right? Now comes basically the lifespan of sheep, if it is concerned, is around 10 to 12 years. It might vary. Sometimes they might go for like 14 or 15 years also, but that is the life expectancy. Like they have an age of 12 years, and after that, due to some natural reasons, they'll be dying off. But here most important thing is, like you all might be aware of the different type of breeds of dogs and all, like Rottweiler, Pomerian, you have then French Bulldog, Mastiff and all. Okay, so you might be wonder, like there are the breeds of sheep also which are found in India. So what are those breeds? Some of these are like Mohair, Lohi, Rampur, Patanwadi, Marwadi and Bakharwal. So each has a specific type of fleece, means like some will be extremely silky, some will be extremely small, but they'll be having a different type of texture. So they, depending upon that, to the native places they have been classified and named as so, right? Next comes the processing of wool. So basically we understood कि यार fleece is the one thing that we are getting from the sheep, but or from some another animal, but finally end product, how it is being obtained, that we have to understand. So it is a basically a several step process that we have to understand. The first step is your shearing. So you might have gone to barber shop, right, and he would have used a trimmer like for cutting up your hairs and all. So basically in shearing also, the people, the who are shearer, who are called as the people who does this, actually they use a trimming like tool which are basically used for trimming the fleece of all the animals. Like, and here you can see in the figure number 3.7, if you notice, right, you can see of sheep being sheared, right? So and normally it might vary, like depending upon the duration when the last time the fleece was being removed. But if annually it is being done, means like every year the person has been removing the fleece from this, so you can understand ki its weight varies from around 2 to 5 kg. Right, now comes the next step, that is called as scouring. You can understand, once we have obtained the fleece, that is after the process of shearing, so this net needs to be cleaned, right, because there might be dirt and dust which might be completely, you can say, entangled in between the fleece and all. So it has to be removed. You can simply understand, if your cloth gets like dirty and all, you get some sort of stain, so they need to be washed. Similarly, when we are talking about fleece that we have obtained, so it also needs to be cleaned. So second step basically, that is scouring, deals with the process of cleaning here. So here also what we do actually, the fleece that we obtain, basically we'll pour them in hot water, and we'll use some sort of detergents and specific detergents for removing all the sort of dirt and dust or any other unwanted, or you can say, sort of impurity which might be present. Then comes the process of sorting and grading. Now what we do in sorting, so you might be aware what is sorting. Sorting basically means grouping on the basis of some required characteristic. Like for example, when your teacher would have been taking attendance in the class, he might be taking names in such a way that first the name of the people will come, whose name will be starting from A, then B, then C, then D, and then you might have heard teachers saying that students of this class has been alphabetically sorted. So sorting basically means grouping on the basis of some characteristic. So when we get the fleece which has been scoured properly, that is it has been cleansed properly, so we basically sort them depending upon their texture, on the basis of their length, on the basis of their colors. This is called as grading, right? And that is very for far sure. Like if something which is having some type of wool which has been scoured and it is having very smooth and shiny nature type, definitely the cost of it will be very high in the market, right? Next comes the process of carding. So once the after the sorting, grading and scouring and searing, everything has been done, then we don't get the continuous strands. Actually, all the wool fibers, that is basically the fleece, would be entangled in, so right. So what we do basically, we use a mechanical process that is called as carding. So in carding, what we do actually is like we use a metallic comb like structure for making continuous strands, right? It's not the fiber end product, but it's just for making the continuous strand. And then finally the last step is spinning and weaving. That what we do basically is that carded wool that we get, like they are twisted together and they form a yarn, and after that, depending upon the requirement, either it is they are knitted or weaved together for making the final end product. Now comes the properties of the wool. If we are discussing about the properties of wool, then we have to understand the one of the most important property here is the durability. Basically, it means like it will last longer. It means like due to some natural reasons and all, it won't get deteriorated for a shorter period of time. Then comes several other properties are there, like they are having good insulation property, right? Means something like cause of the space is present between the woolen fibers, the air will get trapped in between them, and thereby making it an extremely good insulator for protection from cold weather, right? Okay, and they are easily dyeable also. Dyeable basically means like you would have seen like your mother or grandmother or any person who is going to market for getting the woolen cloths, right? They will be of specific different type of colors. That means the wool can be easily dyed. Now if you see over here, basically the quality of wool is something like it is considered like it is very highly elastic, it is having a good strength, it is very good as far as durability is concerned. So these were the basic idea that we got about the wool. Now starting on to the next topic, that next animal fiber that we have is silk, right? So to get a brief idea, basically we get it from the cocoons of silkworm, right? Okay, so cocoons are what that will be coming to know shortly, right? But right as of now, just remember they are obtained from the cocoons of silkworm, right? Okay, and one more thing that you have to remember what here is that when silkworms are basically reared for in extremely large numbers for the production of silk, then it is called as sericulture. It is something similar to agriculture, horticulture, or apiculture. Now, from the historical perspective, we should understand that it has been of uttermost importance in the previous older times, because these, if a person was wearing sort of silk cloth, he was considered to be a sort of aristocrat in the society, means a very wealthy person, right? And there had been times around 12th to 13th century when this silk was being traded by Romans for in exchange of gold by the Chinese. So important point worth here remembering is like the Chinese were the first people who discovered the method of obtaining silk basically from the silkworm, and they kept it a secret for a very long time. Okay, now comes the life cycle of silk moth. So first of all, as we know that silk we get is basically from the silkworms, right? So what are the life stages in that we have to understand? Like cocoon also we understood like the silkworm basically where we are getting is from the cocoon. So what are the basic phases in the life cycle of a silkworm? So starting from the first one that we have is the egg. If you can see in the diagram, 3.12 diagram, you can see the first some eggs would be there, and we would see like how the eggs are being coming. So some eggs would be there that would be laid, and remember mostly when they are being laid, they are laid on the mulberry leaves, right? And though normally it is being done in the month of like during the summer month itself only, right? Then when the eggs are being hatched, or you can say sort of incubated, and then later on they are getting hatched, then the next stage that we get is of larvae stage, right? Basically, or you can say caterpillar. So we have to understand that caterpillars are basically hatched on the mulberry leaves because it acts as a very good source. That is the only food that they eat basically, and it lasts up to 27 stages. And one more thing, they are basically devour of mulberry leaves. Basically they eat it like anything. So if you have to remember something, they eat more than 30,000 times of their weight, basically the caterpillar or larvae. And during this time, once this process is when the stage of larva is going to get end, what they do, they start shedding their skin. Normally they do it for 3 to 4 times. That is called as molting, and that marks the beginning of the next stage and the end of this stage. Next comes the pupa. So once they have shredded their skins, they'll basically attach themselves to a particular place, and they'll secrete out silk filament, basically a single strand, and they will completely it will be completely entangling them around their body. So that time when it has been completely covered by this single filament, they are called as cocoon actually. So you can see some egg-like structure. They are not egg-like structure. Inside that, one silkworm, or you can say silkworm's larvae is already there. So once they are coming into the stage, but and when we have to extract the silk, so basically what they do basically is like the persons who have been growing or rearing them, they just put them in hot water. But coming on to the next stage, so if they have been haven't been altered or from this, or they haven't been disturbed, what happens basically after some several months, they come outside of the cocoon, and they come outside as silk moth, which are called as adult silkworm, and they will again lay on. So this is a cycle that keeps on going for them. Okay, now comes the process of processing of silk, that is, you can see over here. So basically during the larval stage, when they would be entangled with the single continuous filament, they are just put live itself in the hot boiling water for obtaining the strands, right? So this process is called as reeling or filiature, and then from there yarns is being obtained, and from there further the fabric of silk are being made. So as far as the properties, that is the next topic, is concerned, we have to understand that as far as a different type of natural fibers are concerned, the one of the strongest, it is considered as the strongest natural fiber. And if you ask your mother, father, or you have they are having any sort of cloth of silk which is made up of silk, and you just touch them, so by just touching only you will understand how soft in their texture they are actually, right? And quality of silk, it depends on certain other factors also, like basically it depends upon the primary reason is the quality of the mulberry leaves that is being fed to them, how the different type of machineries are being used in the process when the reeling or filiature is being done. Okay, and like an important thing about silk is like that you have to understand, they are a sort of cloth, you can say the clothes made up of silk are something like they feel colder during the month of summer, and hotter, means like they are warmer during the month of winter, because of their extremely good insulation property.